Okay, in this video we're going to go over all things bezel. We'll go over importing gems, basic handles on bezels. We'll then go on to the profile menu and editing the profiles, saving your profiles, using the profiles to make cutouts, and then also using the scallop cutters to put designs inside bezels, and then moving on to actually using the bezel as a halo pendant, and then creating a bezel from scratch. So there's several different things that we're going to look at, and I'll put timestamps in the comments below so that you can go to the sections that you would like to see more of. So you don't have to go through the entire video, of course. So let's go ahead and get started. First we'll just do the basic controls for the bezel. So we'll go up, and first thing you need to do a bezel is a gem or a curve. And I'll show both here real quick. Of course we have a gem out there, and then let's just go to the top menu real quick, and we'll go to curve and select an ISO curve real quick, turn it to yellow, and just do some kind of fancy design. This would be basically more for like if you have a custom gem or something like that. We'll go back to perspective. Now we'll select our settings menu, and we'll go to bezel, and as you can see, it'll ask gem or closed plane or curve, so they have to be on the plane. So we'll go ahead and select our gem first, and we'll hit enter. Okay, so here we have all the controls. We have the handles here, and we have the dynamic commands over here. So you can use either or both. So you can adjust the bottom thickness, the height of it, how deep you want it to go. You can adjust the angle. You can adjust where the stone sits. You can also adjust the angle on that, bring it out or in, depending on what you're wanting to do. You can seat offset, will move it up or down. The offset here, you probably don't want to mess around with that most of the time, because you want the stone to be inset. You can adjust the thickness here and where you want the position of it. Okay, and then you can also select a profile editor from here or here. Okay, or profiles here. One other thing is this dome here, right? It's always a nice little dome. You can come over here in your dynamic commands. You can lower it, you can increase it, so you can get different views from that as well. All right, and then we'll just go ahead and click enter on this one, and then we'll go ahead and do a bezel on this so you can see, and then we'll select enter, and it actually put a bezel around that curve. So if you have a custom gem or something, you can do that. A lot of times custom gems are cabajans or something like that, but you can adjust it, and then you can adjust the seat so that it'll sit flush. You can lower the seat to give you more or more height, so depth in it, so that you can do the bezel. You can adjust the dome again, all the same commands that you would have on the normal round stone or any other shaped stone. So you can actually create your own designs. So that'll conclude this part as far as just going over the handles. You can go to your profile editor from here, or profiles, and you can go to your editor from there. Alright, and we'll come back and take a closer look at those in just a second. Okay, in this one here, we're going to take a closer look at the profile editor, or the profiles that you can pick. You can choose any designs that you might want from the library menu itself, so you can kind of see what's going on. And actually you should be able to see a live update as you choose the, okay, no live update. But you can select it. Oh, okay, there you go. And then you can keep going, find something that you really like from the profiles library, and you can save your profiles as well, which we're going to go over right now. So you have a profile, and you want to edit it. You go to this little box next to your profiles library, and you can use the editor from here, or you can click on here and get the editor. And so you can create your own profiles. So we'll just select this and just get rid of it. You can edit it. Let's go back real quick. You can edit this by just clicking and dragging here, and you should be able to see a live update as you're doing it. So you can see all the manipulations that are going on. So if you wanted to edit your bezels, you can do it like this, and you can actually see in live time what it's doing to your bezel. And then if you want to, you can just click here and it'll accept that. If you wanted to save it, you would go here, and we'll come back to that in a second. So we want to create our own bezel and save it to our library. So we'll just go ahead and select this one and hit delete, and then we'll make our own out here. I have my grid snaps on and my O snaps, so I'm just going to start drawing. And as you can see, it will not update as you're drawing because it's not accepted yet. You have a red light, so it's not going to take it. I'm just going to draw something out here real quick. And now as soon as I click off of it, it turns green, and you can see your updated edited profile here. And say you really like this design and you want to save it for the future, you can go to just save, give it a name, new, well, click on your, and then type in whatever you want to name it and hit OK, and just click out of that. It'll take you back to your original if you did not click on the save. Okay, but you can always go back to your bezel, and now that you saved it, you can go back to your profiles library, and my new, somewhere in here, test new right there, and then just select it, and now you have that back on your bezel. Yeah. Or if you can just go back, abort the command, and they'll take it back to the original. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is basically the profiles library. So you can go to your, let's say you go to your bezel, you hit edit, and now you can click here and you can get your styles that you've saved. Okay, so now you have all these pre-loaded styles in your bezels, and there's a certain one that you want, you can just load it in, and there you go. It'll automatically load it into your so if you want a style to save, you can do that. And say, let's just go back here real quick, and we're going to edit this bezel one more time, and we'll just get rid of these points, make it like that, and click OK, and say you really love this style of bezel, right? So you can hit enter, and then you can save this style in your collection. So you just highlight everything, go to your little folder over here for your collections and project managers, click on it, and then go to your collections, and I already have it preloaded on heads, but if you go to collections, you have your styles here. I have a one for parametric heads, and then you can save that, load that style in here. If you click on this window, Save to Collections, versus this one, Export Selected to Collections, one will, I think, give you a picture, the other will not. So if you click on this one and just save it to you can give it a file name, description, Save to Collections, it'll give you a picture so that you can hang on to and see it in your collections. But if you click on this one, I believe it will not give you a picture. Yeah, see, there's no picture there. So just be aware, this one here, Save to Collections, will give you an actual image to be able to view, and then Export to Collections will not give you an image. So keep that in mind. Okay, you also have the ability to save, not just in your collections, but also in your styles sheets themselves, which is probably the best way. That way they're all grouped together. So we have our style here. So you go over and go to your style sheet. And then this menu, you can click down here, Save Style. And then it'll ask for a new name if you want to, an image, and then just Save Style, and it'll add it to your style sheet. Okay, so next time when you close out, say we'll go ahead and enter this, get rid of this bezel, and we want to put a bezel on it. You can go over here to your style sheet and click on it, and it'll automatically have it in there that you can load up. And there you go. That's probably the easiest way. If you could also save in your collections, but just saving it to the style sheet is probably, or for the bezels is probably the best way to do it. Okay, now we're going to move on into the scallop cutters and what you can do with bezels. Right now I have the just an oval stone out there, and I have the default bezel on it. So I'll just go ahead and keep it for this part of the demonstration. The next demonstration we'll have to do some altering because we're going to do a cutout for some design work in the sides of the bezel. But for this one, just showing the scallop cutters, I'll just go ahead and take this. And then we'll go ahead to cutters, select our cutters, and it automatically throws them up there. It recognizes the bezel. Now you have a lot of options here, all kind of controls out here, right? Actually, most of them are probably easier to use in the dynamic tab over here. You can adjust what kind of design you want the profile to be. So you can change that design. You can also create your own, which we'll do a little bit later and the reason I'll show you is for the cutout. You can select how many you want, so you can get more or less depending on your design. You can select the inside width, which will be what's facing your stone, wider or thinner depending. You can select the inside height, so you can make it higher or lower. You can select the outside width. A lot of times you'll want the inside height and the inside width and the outside width to be the same. Otherwise you'll get a little bit different cut, but it depends on what you're looking for, of course. You can also adjust the height and the width. We'll just make this go a little smaller for this one. Length of it, how long you want it to be, depending, because you can get a different kind of angle. The angle on it, down, lower or higher. We'll go kind of low with this one, and we'll take that height up a little bit, and you can angle, up and down. Offset X, so you can change the offset there. I'm going to change that back to 0. You can do the Y offset, so you can move them in or lower, in or out rather, and the Z offset, up or down, how deep you want the cut to go. Okay, and then also again the rotation all the way around the bezel. So I'm going to take that and put it back to 0, and we'll just do a boolean here, just something like this. We'll take the where is it, length, and just extend, not length, where is it, offset X, no, that we want to 0. Yeah, the Y offset, we'll bring it in a little bit. Alright, and then we'll just go ahead, enter, and do a little cut just so you can see what it does. Go to your tools menu, solids menu, boolean difference, select our bezel, hit enter, select our cutters, and hit enter, and there you have a nice little scalloped head. So you can create all kind of little cool designs with this tool, and then if you hit enter again, everything is maintained parametric. You can go back to your gem, select your stone, go to a princess cut, which I wouldn't recommend, or go to a round perhaps, and you can create different styles of heads. Of course, some of these, for whatever cutout you did, may not be good, like a trillion's probably not real good for that stone or for that cut, so be careful, but there you have the cutter basics. And now we'll move on to a little bit more design on the bezel itself. Okay, this next section we're going to get into a little bit more detail. It's going to be a little bit more advanced, more time, I guess, so be patient. Right now I have a oval out there. I think it's like a 9mm by 7 by 9 oval. It's a fairly large stone, great for this example, but you could do it with most stones. You have to be cautious though, because on the size of the stone you have to remember the printing process and the casting process needs certain dimensions and spaces between things in order to be able to cast efficiently and also to print. When you invest it and cast it, you don't want those rails breaking up, so you probably want at least, I think it is like a 0.05 or a half mil at 0.5 distance between some things, at least a 0.43. 3 would probably be minimum I would go, but 5 would probably be better, but you'll see as we're going along. So this is just the basic default bezel. So on this design we're going to need to make some adjustments. First we want the thickness a little bit thicker for this particular design, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it out to a 1. I'm going to go ahead and raise the top a little bit so our stone's kind of just sitting right in there, so it's kind of the table of the stone's kind of flush. You don't have to, you can make your adjustments, but remember you do want a nice depth there, so when they go to set the stone that they have enough metal to hammer down on it, or circle set it, gypsy set it in there, however they use it, or you could use cutters. There's all different kinds of ways to set those stones, and different jewelers are different types of setting. But the next thing we want to do is we'll go to our front view, turn it on a wireframe, and we want to angle this more toward kind of straight down, but not totally, and then we'll give this a little bit more thickness too, just to be safe. Now our cutout will be in this area, so we only have like 1.5 millimeters, because we have to leave a 0.5 millimeter there, and you probably want at least a 0.5 millimeter there. So you want to drag that, oh, wrong one. You want to drag this handle down a little bit, so we'll take it down to a little over 5. Actually, we'll take it. Yes, we have nice area there to do a cutout. And then we'll change this profile. make it a little bit more rounded so you can see the effect that you're going to get. Something like this here should be fine. We'll take that. So we have a little nice dome effect here. So next thing we want to do is, everything looks good. Yeah. I'm going to take that dome down just a little. And we'll hit enter, so we'll accept that. So we have our basic bezel here. It's got a nice little rounded edge on it. So nothing spectacular. Put a bell on it and you have a nice bezel pendant. But we want to spruce it up, make some little designs in it. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go to our cutters menu and go back to our scallops. And this time we want to only have 2 cutters. And they're at the wrong direction right now, so we'll go ahead and rotate them 180. So now they're on our sides. And the next thing we want to do is change our profile to something that has a rounded corners. You don't have one here. I'll show you how to make one and import it. And we'll also import a design, but not this particular one. So we'll show those different ways to be able to import your own designs. But we'll take this one with the rounded corners and select it for right now. Okay, and then right now we can go to our handles, or we could go to our viewport, but we want to make it the same distance on the inside width as the outside width. So it's a 3 and it's a 3, so that's fine. We want to change our angle here to 0. Okay, and you can see it's kind of 3 millimeter on the inside, 3 millimeter, but the height's different. So our height is off 3, 3. So we'll just take this one for right now down to a 3. And then we'll do our offset, Z offset. We'll go over here to it. It's a lot easier. And we'll just drag it down. And now we'll do some adjustments here. Width-wise, we'll make it wider. Go to our right view so we can kind of see what's going on. We'll make it nice and wide. We'll take our Z offset down a little bit more. We have like, what, over a millimeter there, so we have some room to drop down. Go down to about here. And we'll make it a little wider just for purposes of demonstration. And then of course this outside is 8.75, so we need to make the outside height width. We want them to be the same. So it's 3 millimeters right now, so 8.7 width. So our inside width, we'll just go in here and type in 8.7. Now it's just a square. Alright, we'll go back to our wireframe, take a look. Okay, it's not cutting all the way into our bezel there, so we're going to have to do some length off adjustments. So we'll go back to our, and we'll just drag it out, nice long. And then we'll go to our, I think it's our Y offset, and we'll drag it in. And take a look at it from the top here in wireframe. And as you can see right here, it's cutting into our bezel, so we don't want that. We just want it to cut into our shape of the inside stone. So we're going to have to drag these down a little bit. Something like around a 6.5 should be good. And we'll just take this one and type in a 6.5. And hit enter. So now they're both the same, and they come in and cut into our stone and not leaving any metal there. So we'll go back to our perspective, take a look at it just one more time. So go to the right view, check our depth. It's at least a 0.5 millimeter. We can go up a little maybe. So we'll go back to our Z offset and just take it up just slightly. We could probably go more, but we'll just leave it for now and hit enter. Okay, and then from here what we want to do is we'll check our wireframe out one more time. Doesn't help to keep going back. And we'll do a boolean. So we'll go to our solids, boolean difference. Actually, at this point, before we do the cut, let's do this. We want to take our bezel, we want to duplicate it in place, and I'm going to take one of those bezels and I'm going to change it to a different layer and then hide it. Okay, we'll need that later. So from here, what we're going to do is do a boolean difference. Select our first surface, which will be our bezel, and hit enter, and then our cutters, and hit enter. Okay, so now we have a nice cutout. And as you can tell, it cut all the way through. Let's hide the stone for a second. All the way through, and leaves us a nice little area to be able to work with. Alright, so we have this. Now what we want to do is we want to put some kind of design in here. Now, there's all kind of ways, but I'm just going to show you this particular way. We'll hit enter to accept that. And now what we want to do is, okay, now we're going to put in a design in here. So there's tons of ways, like I said, that you can put a design in there. You could just do a smart flow, you could put a pattern, whatever. But I'm going to show you another way to be able to do that. The first thing we want to do is go to our top menu, and we're going to create that little S thing and save it to our libraries. So we want to go to curves. We want to get a circle, and we're going to just draw a circle out here. Doesn't really matter the height or anything. And then we're going to go and get a line, and with our quad snaps on, we're going to draw a line. That does not look centered. Let's get rid of that. Do it again. Quad, okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this circle and split it with our curve here and hit enter. Okay, and then we'll just get rid of this curve because we don't need it anymore. And we'll take this and we'll drag it over however far you want. And then from here, what we'll do is we'll go to blend curves, go from here to here, and we have a nice little side S shape. Okay, and then we're going to take that and we're going to join that together. From here, making sure that it's all one curve, we're going to take it and we're going to go to our offset, but we're going to go to offset through point. Okay, and then that'll allow us to draw an offset. I already did this, so I left on, but I wanted to show you. Usually it says cap no, but we want both sides, and cap equals you have options, flat, round, or whatever. We're going to take a round option, and it'll automatically close that curve off, and we're going to put our little design in there. It's about a 5 point. You can make it however you want. We'll just accept that, and then we'll go ahead and delete that center curve because we don't need it anymore, and making sure that's all closed up, which is nice. And then from here we want to save this. You can do X, you can do V's, you can do triangles, you can do all kind of stuff, and it'll save it to your library. You can save these. So we'll go up to our curve menu, and right here, add rail or add profile to library. We'll click on that. It says to select curve to add to our profile library. We'll take our curve that we just created. We'll click here because we don't want to save it to a bell, and we want to go to scallop cutters, and we'll hit enter. And then it'll ask us to give it a name, and we'll just type in scallop cutter 01, and we'll hit save. Okay, so let's save it to our library. Now we don't need this anymore, so we can just delete it. Okay, before we do this next part, what we're going to do is take this bezel again. We already have the one saved, and we're going to duplicate it in place. and then we're going to take one of them, and put it on the other layer, and then turn it off. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go do the design, put the design in the side here. So we'll go back to our scallop cutters, hit edit. We want to change that to our S shape there. Hit select and enter. And then we want to make a few adjustments here. Go to our front view. Oh, sorry, our right view. And we want to just 3.1, 6.51. Okay, so we're going to make some adjustments here just so we know that that cutout is, because that's the same size as our cutout. We want it just a little bit more. So we're going to adjust the inside width 6.52. Hit enter. Go down here and change our outside height so that they're both the same. 6.52, enter, and then we'll just do a 3.2, enter, and again 3.2, enter. Okay, so now we know it's a little bit more. Okay. So we'll go to perspective here, do a last minute check. Okay, everything looks good. And then what we'll do is we'll hit enter. Okay, now it gives us a cutout right here, but we want to go to our boolean and hit edit and switch it to a intersection. So now it just gives us those, and we're going to hit enter. Okay, now we're going to bring back our bezel with our cutout. Okay, and the reason why we took it up and down is now we have an intersection here right in there, so everything's going to be touching very nicely. We have connections made, and we have a nice spacing between everything, so everything should print out and cast no problem. And if you can see, it goes with the contour of our bezel, so everything's totally lined up. Okay, so we'll take that, turn it to green, and there you have it, a nice little cutout. You can do all kinds of cutouts. You can make triangles, you can make X's, any diamond shape, anything you kind of want to be able to put into the side of your bezels, and then you can put a pendant on it and it spruces up. But there's a lot of things you could do to this, so your creativity is what limits you or frees you. And then you could just put a bell on that, and there you go. That's a nice little bezel. You've probably seen these before maybe, but there's all kinds of designs you could put in there. Alright, so we'll move on to actually creating a halo using a bezel as well on the next section here. Okay, in this section here we're going to go over show how you can just easily create a halo pendant out of a bezel. So the first thing we want to do, this is default, everything's default. Got an oval we're going to demonstrate this with. First thing you want to do is make this a lot thicker, right? So if you're going to put stones in there, you're going to have it a width that will accommodate the stones. So we'll just go to about this width. It kind of looks kind of crazy. We'll go to the right view. I'm sorry, front view, and we want this to be pretty much well, you can have it at an angle, it doesn't really matter. We'll give it some more depth there, and we'll drag it down a little And then of course that dome is like a no way, right? So we're going to take that dome all the way down to 0. I wonder if you can do a negative. Let's try negative 3. Nah, it concaves it, so we don't want that. We want it. We'll take it to 0. And offset kind of really doesn't matter there. You know, the less is probably better for the halo itself. Height, we're not going to mess with. Width, girdle offset. We do want to take this out just a little bit, and we'll change that angle to a little bit more. We'll make it a little curved in. And then placement, we're going to drop it down. I guess that's the key, the biggest key right there. Is right now what you see is we have the bezel way down, and we have a nice little lip for it. Alright, and then from here you can just hit enter, and then if you want to, you can go here, click on your stone and go to tools, head. Okay, so there's our head, and if you look at it, I think it has I think the default's 2 rails. Yeah, so come over to your rail count, and we actually don't want any rails. We just want the prongs, and we definitely don't need the prongs that low, so we're going to drag them up, and we'll take a look at this, see what it looks like. Kind of maybe drag those prongs or blend back in. Don't need that deep. And we'll check those out. Prong, height of a prong, we need a good distance there. Alright, it's looking good, and then we'll hit enter. Alright, and then from here, all you have to do is go to your curve menu, select extract iso curve, click on your surface, and we want it at a 0.5, so we'll just type that in, hit enter, so we know it's centered, and then we'll hit enter, and then we'll take our curve and go to gems and select gems on curve, and now we need to target surface our bezel and drag those around, and then we can play with the size of them. Right now they're 1.3, which is pretty small. We have a lot of room there. We can make them bigger. Spacing 0.1 is good. Alright, and then say we want to drop them down to girdle, gem placement, table, and then we'll hit enter. Alright, so all our stones are out there. Next thing we're going to do is take our stones, we're going to go to cutters, and we'll go to channel cutter, change it to wireframe so we can kind of get a good look in there, see where we're cutting. Alright, so we need to make some adjustments here. We want it out, so our width to be wider, and then our depth, we need to drag placement height, we can just take that up. Placement we want to be around here maybe. Yeah, looks pretty good. And then hit enter, go to our, and then what we can do from here is go to solids, Boolean difference, our bezel, enter, our cutter, enter, and then there's our channel. And then from here, enter, and then from here go to our gems, sorry, settings, and then go to our prong placer, put them on our, drag our height up a little, make our prongs a little thicker, and nudge them in just a smidge. And there you go. Alright, so we have a nice little channel with some prongs on it. And then from here, what we can do is we can go to curve again, extract ISO curve, and this time we want it on this surface here, and again we want it at a 0.5. Enter, enter, enter. And then we'll take this curve and we'll go to solids and go to object on curve, and now we have nice big beads out there, so we'll drag them around. And we'll go to our size. We need to make them smaller. I believe that you're not supposed to go past a 1.3, I think. And then you do not want your beads touching, according to a lot of the production companies. But I kind of like that look. Just go to about 0.38. We'll go to our spacing. This time we won't make them touch. It doesn't matter. It goes into our prong. It just makes it nice and uniform. And we'll enter. We'll change that to purple so we know it's not connected. And then we'll go back to our curves. Again, select ISO curve. Go to our edge here. 0.50. We want 0.5. 0.5. Hit enter. Enter and enter. Okay, so there we are. We want to go back and select some more beads. So our solids on curve, objects on curve, and then we'll drag those around and make some adjustments there. We'll go to size first, take them down to like it was at 3.8, and we'll space them up a little bit closer, and this one's still not spaced out, so there we go. So there they are. Go enter, and now you can do all kind of work in there, but there's a nice little halo pendant very quickly, and you can do some cutout design work and everything. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, so that kind of gives you a little bit of the halo pendant, creating a halo pendant. Now we'll just go to creating our own style of bezel from scratch. Okay, in this section what we're going to do is create an entire shape of a bezel from scratch. You can do this if you're wanting to make, I think I made a video or I showed a pendant where it had a lot of like a double decker type thing with some cutout. So this is how you would do something like that. I have my gem out there just sticking with an oval, but just select your stone, and the first thing you want to do is go to let's see, profile, offset curve, okay, and then click enter, and it'll put an offset curve. You want to go to your top view, and you want to drag that in just a little bit, because that's where the seat is going to be. You're going to cut the seat into the rail, and keeping it right at the girdle width is fine. So we'll just go ahead and hit enter on that one. Go to our perspective, turn it on wireframe, and then we're going to take this one curve and we're going to duplicate it from our right view, and we'll go to our quad and we'll just take it up. Turn off our snaps and hold down shift and take it to the height that you want to place it on your bezel. You want it just underneath the tail of my stone. So, and then click enter. or click to make that copy. Okay, so right now we have that. And then here you want to do an offset for the outside of your rail, right? So top view is probably best. So we'll go to curves. We'll go to offset curve. Right now I think I have it set to 0.5, but we need to change that to, let's go a 1 and see what that looks like. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we'll take that and we'll put that on yellow. Alright, at this point what we need to do, so here we go. When you start 3D designing, you look at everything differently. You look at everything as if it was cut in half, right? So the bezel would be cut in half. So here's our point going up and then our point going out. And then from here, you can duplicate that again from your quad. Turn on snaps again. Make sure your quad snaps checked. Go to quad, and then we'll go to the right view, and we'll just this particular one we want a little level out, so we're going to hold down shift, turn off our snaps somewhere around here. Okay, now we have it going down, but we don't want it going down. We want it going out. We want a little bevel right there because we're going to add some stuff to it. So we're going to take this and we're going to go to our top view, and we're just going to click on this little checkerboard right there by our gumball. Hold down shift and drag it out some, a nice little distance, and hit enter. Well, we don't have to. Okay, so we have this going on so far. That's a pretty good distance. I wonder how far that is. We'll find out. But it gives us a nice little angle. So if you can imagine, we'll turn off the stone for a second. We'll go ahead and draw some of our rail profiles here. And we'll just click on our line, make sure our snaps are turned on, quads, and we're going to go to the disabled, turn them on, go to our quad, and then our quad to our quad, and then our quad to our quad. So as you can see, we're starting to get a shape here. Okay, so let's turn back on our stone. So we need some depth on it. Let's see, we'll take this one, we'll duplicate it again, and from our quad, and we'll go to our front view this time, and we're just going to bring it down. We want a little straight edge coming around, and where we're going to put some beadwork or something, or some little design, something like that. And then we'll turn it to wireframe, and actually we're going to take this one curve, this curve here, and we're going to duplicate it again. From our front view's fine, and from our quad, and we're just going to bring it down to about where we want the base of it to be. So it'll be about there we go, that's good. And we'll go ahead and put a line on that one too for right now. Actually, let's take this one, go to our top view, and we're going to hold down this checkerboard again, or click on it and hold down shift, and we're going to, let's do that again, undo, so I get it back to where it was. Go to our checkerboard, hold down, hold down shift, click on our checkerboard, and then there we go. Okay, so hold down shift and then click on the checkerboard, and we're going to go ahead and draw a little angle from our quad to our quad here, so that'll be the opening at our bottom. And then from here, let's say we want this one here, and we'll just duplicate that in place for right now. And then we'll take one of those, the second one here, and we'll go to our top view, and we'll hold down shift, click on our quad, and we'll just make it, oh, I slipped, undo, okay. Let's go back again, sorry. Oh, there we go, okay, that's fine. Alright, and then from here, let's go back to our line curve and go ahead and knock off these profiles here, quad. And then from here we'll do a little arc or something from that quad to this quad, go to our front view, and we'll give it a little domey effect here. Alright, so you can do some work down in there. This is just something I'm just going off the top of my head real quick, and then we'll go to our line curve one more time and go to this quad to this quad. So we have all this. Let's hide our stone so we can see everything. So everything should be boxed off. So let's go ahead and do some sweeping here. We'll go to our surface, and I want to be able to control if I have to put lines in, extra profiles or whatever for the sweep in case it comes out a little hinky. So I'm going to do a profile 2, just normal sweep, and then I'll take this rail, this rail, this rail, hit enter, see, and it closed everything off. Let's take a look at what happened there. Okay, so that's definitely not what we want. I did something wrong. We'll go back to our sweep 2, first profile, second rail, third rail, change it to green and hit enter. There we go. See, I have the ability to add some slashes if the curves come out jacked up, so it gives me a little bit more control. Then I'll just right click and then click my first rail, my second rail, and then this profile, and hit enter, and that's okay. Click enter, and then I'll go out to my outside here and right click, just going around selecting all these profiles, making sure that the sweep is nice and clean, and right click this profile or this rail, this one, and hit enter, and then this rail, and this little arc curve, and hit enter, and then go on the inside here, go up to my top there, click on that, this bottom one, this thing here, and hit enter, okay, and then one last time, this rail here, and this rail, and enter. Okay, so we should have a closed poly surface after we join everything together. So we'll just take all that, well, we'll take all green and join it together. Okay, so here, closed poly surface, so we're good to go. And there's our basics for our pendant. Then here it's just all about putting gems, cutouts, beads, whatever you want to do to design it. But that's how you would design different shapes. You can do different kinds, all different kinds, and then put a bell on it, and there you go. Or you have a top of a ring. Powerful tool, MatrixGold and Matrix 9, or all matrices. Hope you enjoyed the video. If it helped you, please give me a like and subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks for watching.